Hey, Mickey. Oh, my name's Tom Regan, by the way. I started working on it about a year and a half ago.
Oh, we're getting feedback.
Yeah, turn down the volume.
Try that.
You can hear it on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm looking, and it works better visually if you two stand next to each other.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to be,
That's the source of the feedback, though, is your phone.
Oh, we do.
yeah, I'll turn it off. And
Oh, okay. There we go. Alrighty. Sorry for all the delay. Well, again, Tom Regan's my name. We started working on this about what was it, in November of 2019?
Oh,
Excuse me, November of 2020, right when the, wait a minute, what year is it now? 21? November of 2019, we started working on it. We were hoping to get it going in March of 2020, but things sort of fell through. But now it looks like we're going to be able to get it going in March. So it's looking good. We've had a committee that's been meeting on an ad hoc basis for the past year and a half. We've done a lot of visits around town looking for potential site, talking with full board and various people in the city government. And I believe we finally got everything ironed out. The school district's really enthusiastic. They're saying, yeah, this site is totally unused, so go ahead and make a garden out of it. We'd be very happy about that. So they're really enthusiastic. We got really good buy-in from the superintendent. So we're really confident there. And then the city, we've got Aaron Phillips. He's the head of the Department of Public Service. He's all for it. He's got a budget for it. He says, yeah, go ahead, get together, decide what exactly you want, and we'll look at buying it and getting it started next year. And we've talked to the city commission. City commission's all favorable. So I think we got things are a go. But why don't we start with, everybody could just introduce themselves and tell us why you came, starting here with Chris.
I'm on the Royal Environmental Advisory Board with Tom and longtime gardener, so this is right up my alley.
I'm Fritz, they them pronouns, please. I wanted to do this because I already turned my front yard into a fruit and vegetable garden. So I figured I could extend it because I have an ungodly amount of seeds. And I always have extra and I always feel bad throwing it away. So I figured have a site to help produce more food for the community.
lovely.
I'm Allison, and I've attended a few meetings and I helped plant our. Oh, whoa, I'm sorry. I'm like, what is happening? Yeah.
You're on
Okay, my
route.
apologies. I helped with the garden as much as I could this summer, and I also attend church with Josh, who kind of piqued my interest initially.
Hi, Becky Bouts, and I'm new to this group. I haven't participated in anything in the past, but I'm a longtime gardener and I have way too much shade in my yard, so I would like to grow vegetables and flowers that need a lot of sun. And I'd be interested also if there's going to be a community component to it as well, or if we would donate food that we grow or something.
Hi, I'm Mickey Lemoyne, and I'm interested in pollinator gardens. And my neighbor Ann helped me do one in my yard. Hi, Ann, if you're on Zoom tonight. So I'm interested in that, and I want to learn more about vegetables, growing vegetables as well.
Hi, my name is Sean. I'm the dad to these two gardeners, but I am also a gardener myself. I don't know, we've done a garden in our backyard last 15 years or so, I guess. So.
I'm Sarah, and I volunteered at a community garden before by the food bank Yadisla, and I'm really excited for this community garden. Hi, I'm Leah, and I'm also with my sister, but I'm also very interested in pollinator plants and plants that help bees.
Hi, I'm Josh. I've been a member of the check my hair there. I've been a member of the committee since it started, and I've been a home gardener for many years as well. And I also worked in the pilot garden at Roll Up First.
You just came.
Hi, same. I'm Kathy Gass. I've been with the committee since it got started, and I've been a gardener at home and also in community gardens in Royal Oak.
Here comes somebody else, but in the meantime, I will tell you
And
my,
somebody behind you.
yeah, but
Oh, more people. Meanwhile, I'm Elaine Wright. I'm only been in the neighborhood for a year, but I'm excited about the concept of community gardens. I have a huge garden in my yard that's pollinators and flowers and things that I'm trying to rehabilitate. It was a mess when we moved in. So I can't do a vegetable garden next year, I don't think, but I will be glad to. I told Tom I would be glad to be a backup for anybody who's going on vacation for a week or breaks their leg, God forbid, or, you know, gets a cold and can't work in the garden for a week or something. You can call me and I'll come step in. So yes.
Hello. With my introduction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm Joe Mashiri. I live in Royal Oak, a neighbor of Tom's, and hello.
Just why you came.
Well, I came because I've been happy to see the garden club get going and want to fully support it. So
And who else just came?
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
My preference, my
You're-
preference is the person.
You're
Yeah.
talking to the Zoom people, introducing
Yeah.
yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Larissa Bliznyuk. I was involved in the earlier part of the conversations and then had to get a kid off to college and throw a party for them. And now I'm an empty nester and we can do this stuff. So there you go.
I wonder if we could get the people on Zoom to introduce themselves. I'll probably
That's
have
a
to
good
turn
idea.
I'll have to turn the volume back on.
no.
I have an extra one in my car. Okay.
And would the folks on Zoom, would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us why you came?
Sure, I can start.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Amanda Herzog. I'm the chair of the Environmental Advisory Board, and we're here to support the community garden in any way we can.
All righty. Anybody else on Zoom? Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us why you came?
Yeah, I'm Gary Lloyd, and I grew up on a farm. I had a garden every place I possibly can. I want to spread the joy. I want to teach people how to do vermiculture, which is farming, and how it enriches your soil, and then composting. And I'll fill in and help out anybody with their gardens with advice for vertical gardening. I can help.
Yeah, I don't think most people heard that, Gary, but I heard it. Gary Lloyd, he's actually got a lot of experience in horticulture and farming, and he's got a lot of expertise, which we can tap into. So we're good to have Gary. Anybody else on Zoom like to introduce themselves and tell us why you came?
Hi, I'm Barb Bolton. My husband's on the way to be there in person, but we're interested in maybe having a plot and supporting, you know, all of our work there. So we're excited about it.
Good. Anybody else on Zoom like to introduce yourself and tell us why you came?
I'm Kathy Wellsbacher, and I came just to get more information on the garden club, and I would be willing to help plant or weed or whatever. I live in a condo, so I don't have that opportunity to, you know, grow flowers or vegetables on my own.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. Now, is there anybody else on Zoom who'd like to introduce themselves and tell us why you came? I think that's it. That's all our Zoom people. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out how to, there we go. So step 2 is, what do we want? I mean, the world's our oysters as far as that's concerned. Do we want raised beds? How big should the plots be? As far as how people will sign up, we have talked to Aaron Filipsky at the DPS, and he said he'd be willing to let people sign up for it, just like you'd sign up for a class in the Insight magazine that the city mails out. So it'd be like one of those adult education classes. And so myself and Amanda Herzog have volunteered to be like the course teachers to like submission. That's up to us. Well, I mean, it's up to the city in an absolute sense, but up until we get there, that they're going to be influenced by the suggestions we make. So does anybody have any suggestions on how this thing should? We're starting from literally from zero. I'd suggest individual plots just because we don't want tragedy of the commons, you know. Or when everybody's in charge, nobody's in charge and things start going. I hate to sound cynical, but yeah, I turned 60 this year. I'm getting a little cynical.
Starting point for the plot size, the number of garden size.
That's up to us. Yeah, yeah.
So I think that that would be helpful to like, if you start with how many, the size of the plot and then figure out how many. One way or the other.
How big of plots do we want? How about we start with how big a plot do we want and should they be raised beds? And if they are raised beds, what should they be made of?
Multiple questions.
Yeah.
So how about raised beds versus not raised?
Yeah.
Raised beds.
Raised
everybody-
beds.
Does anybody disagree? Does anybody think we shouldn't have raised beds? So I know I've been to some community gardens that weren't raised beds. They work just fine too.
But if it's real boggy here, if it gets really wet and boggy, I'd say raised beds
Yeah.
just to help with that.
You've
And
got-
then maybe some kind of rain barrel system to collect the rainwater to water the raised beds. Especially this last year, we had so much rain. So much rain.
No, we've talked about rainwater before and some people said we don't want to use rainwater because it's got E. coli, you know, from bird and squirrel poop on roofs. I use rainwater all the time.
I do too.
Does anybody like have a fear of the E. coli and stuff or?
I'd love for it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
Too.
So definitely rainwater. I like rainwater too. And you've got a lot of rainwater coming off that roof right there.
So, over the years, I've heard recommendations that plots shouldn't be really any bigger than about 3 feet wide. Because you don't want to step in your garden, you want to be able to reach in. So I would say no more than 3 feet wide, but how long, I don't know. I mean, what is reasonable for what might be a new gardener or somebody, yeah.
Kids that would help us. There are kits that are available that maybe we start with that as we start. So, and going back to a bunch.
That's 3 feet.
Here's a kit available.
So you could go 4 feet. But I would say no wider than 4 feet. So they can not step in.
I think 4 feet for,
Yes.
say, if you want to grow things like any brassicas, any like, you know, broccoli or cauliflower, they get quite large or
Now, the first that I bought was 9 feet long.
That's.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if we're gonna go by.
I didn't get a chance to get down there. Yes, so you can buy kits and they come in various sizes and they're really reasonable. They're made out of metal. So I would think, why reinvent the wheel? And we
Those are
could just-
7x3, the metal ones.
don't they come in more sizes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
they do.
so you could get a variety of sizes. And as long as in between, it's wide enough, we just keep maybe the grass. And someone mentioned a push mower, we could just push mow it, at least for the first year to see how it works. I mean, I've used wood chips in the past. And it was just crazy. We did a lot of underlayment and we still had the weeds come up. And we weren't on level ground, although this seems better and all our chips would just constantly go into the storm drain. We had to build like a dam of logs. It was kind of crazy. So we could just keep it simple, keep what we have, and maybe it could evolve to chips, but as long as it's wide enough to get a mower in there, maybe the city would. I mean, not the city,
does
but
the
the
city
school.
use, do they have, or do other wood chipping companies like donate their wood chips or their mulch to the community, or does the city have something like that? 'Cause-
We're part of soccer. We get it free from soccer.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like, because, you know, as
Yeah.
long as we keep it at
Wood
least
mulch.
4 inches, it should be okay, but there's always, you know, weed makes it gonna, you know, be inevitable regardless, so.
And we had a lot of weeds. I
Yeah,
don't
as
know
long
if
as
this
it's
would
at least 4,
absorb
we
more
need
rain.
at least 4 inches in order to it be, you know, help with the weeds and it's allowed to settle, so.
And we have to do that ourselves. They'll
Yeah.
put a big
Yeah.
pile over there on the
I wanna
road.
mention too, like while we're talking about the community involvement, my son is in the adult transition program here at Churchill. It's a classroom of like 20 young adults with autism and other developmental disabilities. And they worked at the Berkeley Community Garden before they turned it into a parking lot. And so they are literally like their classrooms are right here. So in terms of, and they love it. So in terms of like, if we need help with weeding or a push mower for the paths or even watering or anything like that. I know some people are going to be real picky in particular about their individual plots, but if we do have community plots or if there's just some general maintenance, it would be, I'm very close with the teacher. I would be happy to coordinate something like that.
That would be great. That would be really great.
The company that you use.
The stock, that's not a company. It's,
No, not for the chips. I'm sorry, for the bags.
I have
still
to
want-
get that from the fellow from, I haven't written down.
So that if they're standard sizes, so I think we're saying at least 3 feet wide, potentially 4. And then,
Well, that's, if we wanted to get metal ones, we'd have to get whatever size they gave us. If we wanted to build them ourselves,
no, we're
which,
not gonna build them ourselves.
well, a
right?
lot of gardens do that. A lot of gardens build them themselves. I like the,
Is it cost effective?
like the Ferndale garden was, and I mean, the advantage of building it yourself is it's very cheap. It's much cheaper than the metal ones. And you can make them any size you want. Like in Ferndale, you can choose between a 10x4 and a 20x4 because it's just putting boards together. You have to use boards that aren't treated with arsenic.
I think you already got my email.
Right, untreated feet. So I guess that's the first, the flexibility, deciding to build our own beds, and then we have flexibility for we might.
Or we could say, do whichever you want. Yeah, I mean, another option would be, we could say, if you want a metal one, you have to pay X amount because they're more expensive. If you want a wooden one, the city will supply the wood and all we got to do is bang them together, which is like a trivial task, put together a raised bed. I don't know if anybody here's done it, but it's literally a 15-minute job.
Is there a challenge with making it optional? Because
Yeah.
it's supposed to.
It would,
Right.
yeah.
I don't know. I think maintaining some kind of status just in terms of the bed size and material, because if someone needs, someone will have like a primo or a different, I don't know. It's uniformity. How do we feel about uniformity versus?
I think here's uniformity at Pleasant Ridge. They're all the metal beds in different sizes.
I'm not so sure I care about uniformity, but I think simplicity might be a good goal.
And it just would maximize.
Yeah, just instead of keeping track of who wants what.
Yeah, but I guess the advantage of the wood one would be cheap. Disadvantage is we have to build it ourselves.
But what's the
They do
lifespan
fall
of a
apart. They
wood
last
bed?
about
It's not as
No, at
long.
Ferndale, they say they last between 5 and 7 years when they use untreated pine. Although you
Would that
you
be
can,
like a pat? That's not pallet.
it's really cheap wood.
We have that, we currently have a rate.
And untreated cedar, that's going to last even longer.
That's more expensive.
That's
Yeah, it's more
expensive.
expensive. And then the other option is you can use, there are some safe wood waterproofing treatments you can use. You know, you wouldn't want to use, like you wouldn't want to buy treated wood at Home Depot because it's probably got arsenic in it. But there are some food safe water treatments we could use too that would make them last longer. But Ferndale says on their plots, the untreated pine lasts 5 to 7 years.
And the metal would be,
Yeah, metal lasts forever. It's just more expensive.
the supply chain is gonna be an issue. I think, on all of this stuff.
Yeah, on the metal, it would be. On the wood, it would be. Yeah. Well, why don't we take a second? Let's have the 3 guys that just joined us. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us why you came. Starting with Dylan
Oh,
over here.
Dylan Colette from Royal Oak Ninth District, and got invited from time. I actually rode past the school, got lost, and I found my way here.
I'm Bolton. My wife is on the Zoom meeting. I
Yeah.
called
Oh,
her.
yeah.
She can hear, so we're good. So I just came because we're interested in gardening.
Okay.
I'm Eric Tungate. I actually live right there, and I'm also the city manager of Oak Park. So I have a little bit of background with this. I helped create the Sunflower Project in our city. So I would love to be part of this. So
We might steal your sunflower idea too. We're going to talk about that later.
no, actually, I could add a lot of input about, you know, I came a little late. And I apologize. But if you're doing edible veggies and stuff, then yeah, raised beds. Not, of course, we don't do our sunflower beds. We're not eating sunflowers. So that's something to talk about at all. But
Yeah.
By the way, the ground, I don't know the historic use of the ground, but there's going to be arsenic and all this up in the soil, no matter where you go.
Yeah, you're gonna probably find a lot of, old, trash in the ground anyway, 'cause that's what they used to do back in the day. When I dug up my yard, I just found quite a lot of trash that they just, just put grass over it all day.
So any,
So it's
any
probably-
flowering tree, sugars from the flowers, the fruit that comes off the tree, is gonna bring our soil. Doesn't matter where you go. So I don't
Well,
know,
sunflowers help treat soil.
a little bit, yeah, yeah.
So this has always been a school site. It was originally an elementary school. I don't remember exactly when it was built. I'm thinking sometime in the late 1930s. But it's always been a school.
Well-
So no industrial use, no, but probably okay.
How important is uniformity to anybody? I know Larissa,
Well, I think if we're gonna charge people, then uniformity comes into play. Just, otherwise then you have to have different prices, different sizes, different material. I mean, it's gonna make it tough.
I agree. Well, with size wise, I mean, an empty nester versus a family of, 5 to 6, probably gonna want to.
I was just gonna say, uniformity is very important. I don't realize, it's just, we're all part of the homeowner association, so very important. We have to maintain our property a certain way, and, I know when we were looking at sunflower beds throughout the park, that one of the things that we look at, was uniformity in terms of how we plant them, how we stack the plants, let them grow, things like that. But the best community gardens that I've seen are actually ones in Detroit, the one in Midtown, and I think there's one in Lafayette Park now, but they're very uniform, they're very prescribed, and some of them are corporate funded things, but I think a free-for-all is a little bit of a stretch. And by the way, you can talk about mowing and things, I got a mower, I got tools, I can drill boards together, I'm right here, and just walk it over, so.
I have a suggestion. If we go
I'll be,
size plots, I think we have the possibility that somebody could take a half plot. So
Right,
someone
or two
wants a smaller
plots,
one,
yeah.
they can have more. Sure.
or 2 plots. Now, how about, sounds like we got consensus on uniformity. We want everybody to have, we want all the plots to be the same size. How about metal versus wood for the walls of the plot? Anybody have any
I
strong feelings?
prefer wood, 'cause metal could overheat the soil.
Well, and I'm just wondering, a lot of people might want to attach a trellis or some kind of support system. And how, it's pretty easy to do that on wood. I have no idea how that is to do on support. So I know I wouldn't have any tools work on that would work on that.
Anybody have any opinions on wood versus metal as far as the,
wood is more, or metal is more sleek, it's more attractive,
is.
it's also 3-4 times as expensive, so.
Yeah. I think we want to be considerate of the dollars. But I didn't get the feeling that it was high in the sky.
they're like $120.
Yeah, I didn't like horrible. And the thing, he was the original person that was the garden. And he was like our advisor at the school. And he said, you're in a neighborhood. The thing you guys really have to keep in mind is that you're in a neighborhood. And it's kind of to piggyback what you said, it has to look good. I mean, we always have to, we have to keep it maintained. We tried different things with our wood beds. I mean, probably because we didn't know. We tried nails and screws and hinges and stuff, and they were always like over time fall apart. But so just like former PTSD speaking, that's all.
Because it is more sustainable in that we would never have to replace, we wouldn't have to replace it. So the investment would be over the long term, but I don't know, Tom, you're saying you have an idea of how the price differential?
Well, the metal ones were about $120, the ones that Pleasant Ridge bought. I don't know what they'd cost now. I was finding them online anywhere from $70 to $300, but there's also all the supply chain issues now too.
Yeah. So it might be the decisions made for us. But
I guess, could anybody not live with wood versus metal or metal versus wood?
I'll think of the point.
They're like 7x3. They were like maybe a foot and a half. Yeah, I guess that the other advantage of wood is if you wanted to build higher ones for like, people like can't bend over very far. That's really easy to do with wood. You can just stack them. With metal ones, you can't.
And as you said about like building up, I think that different plants would require like some oil to be built up. Them, and it would probably be better for folks, with different needs, like if, you can't bend over the car, probably better for folks that option or folks wanting on the ground.
What are people thinking? Go ahead and yell out an opinion. Wood, metal?
Sounds like.
No, the metal ones are assembled. It's just a big piece of round metal or roundish metal. And just point that. Now, assembling the wood ones is very easy. I mean, it's literally 10 or 15 minutes. You get some deck screws and screw them together. Maybe put a little reinforcement corners along the side.
There's some cutting involved. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but you
see
buy
my
like,
husband do projects all the time. He
Yeah.
always says it's easy, and then the reality.
well, like you
But
buy it
yeah.
at Home Depot, they cut it for you.
Well, we're gonna have those, right?
Yeah.
So we probably cut it sites.
Yeah, even then, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Cinder blocks would work too. Yeah, or you could just stack the wood on top.
With metal.
Metal one stack. Actually, I called two companies and I asked them both, could you stack the metal ones? They said,
I have a question. What exactly is the budget that the city's got set aside gonna go for?
what we asked them to.
Oh, well then, why are we worrying about price?
Yeah, it's a good year to it's a good year to ask them for money. They do have a lot of that disaster relief money.
Well, we're gonna have to buy soil.
Yeah,
What depth are people thinking? What?
What are the widths? Yeah. We probably want to work with a couple standard widths of wood, right?
yeah, and
So
then
what is the back out? What's a width wood?
I guess it's usually
18,
about a foot.
12.
I mean, most maybe like that high. Or you could stack them and have it that high, or you could even put three of them and have it that high.
That's
know
a
I've
lot
been
of
to-
soil.
I've been to what usually you fill in with wood and stuff like that.
So this is a situation where people would be sponsoring individual cities to pay for that material, right?
I think they're making their initial capital investment, and I think there's probably some level of fundraising for food that. I don't know if they would have a commitment. I think all of that is under.
Yeah, in the end, the city's going to decide. The DPS is going to decide, but
Yeah.
we can ask them.
Money is no issue. And I think that'll.
Yeah.
So you can get one, they're 11 inches high, so the metal ones start at about 6 inches, they go to 11 inches. Get it off of. Corner.
I mean, I guess my thought is, of course, we want it to look nice in the neighborhood, but I don't know why we could front the whole area with some nice flowers, landscaping, something so that, it presents a nice
Some
space.
native plants,
Yeah,
just native plants.
yeah, native plants so that it looks nice, but you don't have to agree so much, that everyone's keeping up with their weeding. It is a garden. It's a yard. It's gonna get away from people. So I think we can fix that by doing something nice. Yeah.
The one thing I think we just priced it out, like, so I think we're hearing wood mostly, but, you know, we can have a metal, and just see what the availability is. Just an option. I just had to have a wood fence built, the thing is built. And I'm told I have to have it because of the dog situation, and I'm told it's quite. Right. Yeah, what is it? Is it a run up a cost? I wouldn't be buying a fence.
I found a steel raised bed for $68, 8x3. That was a couple days ago. Of course, when we buy them, the price could change.
Yeah.
Metal will rust.
Steel will rust.
Yeah, and so will and wood will rot. This land's kind of boggy. So I think the others. Yeah. But I guess, do we have consensus on what the material, or are we kind of going back and forth on wood versus metal?
Is it part of the objective of the garden to have people visit children, or if that's the case? Yeah, there's an aesthetic factor here.
But yeah,
Just utilitarian. You're not saying we're building a garden for. No, I mean, we want people to see it. We want people to come and take seniors to come see it, kids. Yeah, maybe go in front of it. Go in front of it. Nice flower bed. Great.
Okay.
The question, we're gonna have, this is just related to the metal wood question. Are we going to have the fence as well? And so.
Well, we got to get to that. Let's well, we got
I'm
our
just
raised
saying,
bed.
because then metal and metal. I'm just saying, or wood and wood and metal.
Right.
That's like, you know, the HGTV look. Do we want two different things? That's even worse.
I've seen that. There's somebody in Lathrop Village that does that. It's very expensive.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. This one, it's about a foot. It is about a foot.
Okay, why don't we just take it to the vote?
Yeah.
And
Can I just say one
galvanize
more thing about the beds?
Yeah.
So,
Galvanized.
did you consider just timbers, I don't know,
Oh, like landscape timbers?
yeah, just
Yeah.
as those creating the raised bed, I mean,
Oh, just like the metal one here.
just the wood ones.
Whatever.
Well, how about I tell Aaron, we're open to metal, wood that we put together, or landscape timbers, and we'll ask him his opinion.
Do we have a comment here, like galvanized? It shouldn't rust. Galvanized.
Resist.
Rust resistant. Okay.
It's all just resistant.
These are
eventually.
galvanized. I actually think rust is kind of good, but.
Then as far as the length, I mean, so the width, we'd want it 3-4 feet at the most, length 7 to 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. Allow for partner. Organizational, so I'm mimicking what Trump Town said at the original Good Neighbor Garden. I don't think it's involved with it anymore. But they had, everybody involved with the garden had to put in some service time for the general garden, like 1 hour.
Let's
What
get, hold that thought. Let's get there. We need to talk about paths and we need to talk about fencing. So like the area between the plots, do we want it grass or do we want it wood chips? I guess the advantage of grass is all you gotta do is mow it. If we do wood chips, then it has to be.
I think grass makes sense. I mean, the space is getting mowed, obviously, anyway. And if we can space them so there's some way they can get.
Well, I don't think we can assume. the school district will follow.
Yeah, they're not good.
So don't, yeah.
So we probably.
Well, I mean, isn't this
No,
area
I will-
already
I-
being
honest to
mowed
God,
currently, or?
I will take responsibility for mowing the grass path.
And if he can't do it, I will. I live right
Is it
there.
Standard mower?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, you know, he would be a big,
Okay, I didn't,
when we whip it, I mow it.
okay, I didn't know if you had
I'm
like to
OCD when
write
it
off.
comes to landscape.
I mean, the easiest thing to do is to build on grass, but I will say, I do that in my own yard, and you know, the grass will eventually grow under the, whatever word it's barbette, so.
Yeah, well, you have to take out the grass. You have to do it when you build a raised bed. It will find a way.
No, but I mean,
Like
even
grass.
if you have a path of
Yeah.
grass, and then you
Yeah.
have your, whatever. I actually use a plastic. or Trex kind of thing, but it eventually grows under into your bed. So I mean, either way, it's gonna be, there's gonna be some maintenance. You're put in wood chips, have to maintain, but grows up with that or grass. Yeah, that's so.
And what I did with our beds in our backyard is just when they came, I just took the cardboard boxes that they came in and just put it underneath.
Yes.
And so that provides a bit of a barrier and it also decomposes over time. And other than, stuff floating in, I think from above or whatever, haven't had much problem with grass getting in. It's been about 6 years. So.
Oh, yeah, I never dig up sod anymore. Just put more out, build up that. So, yeah, that's the. Start saving.
Yeah.
But cardboard does, it depending on the site, the cardboard does take, like a long time to decompose over time. It does take like a year or two. So if you have, plants with big roots, you might have to wait on that. So, yes.
So a pathway to facilitate the conversation of grass or chips. It sounds like we're having a lot of discussions about grass. Anybody a pro chip person with chip? Okay, we have a pro
Make
chip.
an argument for your chips.
If we have access with Sopra, getting the chips from them, we might as well utilize it and just get it, just touch it up every single year. That mean you have to do anything, so.
And that does require a lot more, so the whole area would have the grass, then put in the beds, then put in the chips.
I mean,
right?
I would just do the same thing, put cardboard down, put chip a good
4 inch, at least 4 inches.
4 inches
That's
on
the
top of the cordwood.
Yep.
Wood chips are, if you're doing natural wood chip, that's an annual thing. Also, I don't know if it matters, it's slow property, but grass is actually what's called a pervious surface. The water absorbs. Now chips, gravel, that's not, it's impervious surface. So water does not.
Slides on the cardboard. I'm sorry, it's just so much.
And it also just seems like a lot of extra maintenance to, every year. So
Yeah, that's why I'd favor grass, just because wood's a lot extra work.
I mean, look, I think a good solution is to start out with grass and see how it works.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. It's not a
If it
permanent.
works fine, then we just stick with that. If we're unhappy with it, then we.
That's true.
Okay.
Sounds like you got
Have we
consensus
convinced
on
the
that.
chippers? Yeah. With chippers?
We don't want to lose them. We don't want to lose any.
Start with the grass, okay.
Yeah, and we're not just going to vote on stuff. We're going to reach consensus. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer, but you don't make anybody angry enough. Groups our size voting.
So I lied, I think about the chips.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if you guys see the black chips that I have in my front yard there, but those are actually rubber chips.
Ah.
So those last up to 10 years, and I've had those in there for the last 3 years, and they have not at all.
That's your house right there?
Went up to the car.
Oh, those
Rubber-
black
they're
chips?
rubber chip.
Oh,
Rubber
okay,
nuts.
so that'd be an
Yeah.
option for the
Yeah.
future too, rubber chips.
And it goes, it's a 10-year life, so yeah, since I'm year 4, it hasn't faded at all.
Yeah.
Fences. What about fences?
Yes, please. There are deer.
Oh, lots of deer.
I do, they were growing and then they, ate them down to the stumps this last winter. Priscilla, I call her. Her name's Priscilla. Deer. And she has no, a fawn now. So yes, at least if we want to deter the deer, definitely make them higher because they can scale quite high.
So the fence between the golf course. 6 feet.
Yes.
With no problem.
They just stand there and go over it.
Then they kind of just win.
They win.
And I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody.
They need a 7-foot fence,
Wait, what?
Go ahead.
a 7-foot fence. That's a deer fence, a 7-foot fence.
Gary's making the point. If you want a deer fence, it's going to be 7 foot. Yeah.
That's what I
Wow.
was just wondering because the Royal Oak Nature Society has a deer fence around 10 Woods.
Yeah, but the deer still get in.
It's deer, yeah.
They
That's a
do.
9 foot fence and they still get over it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're not gonna be able to keep everything out. but
What
we
about
should
razor
turn around
wire?
to
No.
pictures.
I think we could
Yes.
like marigolds.
No.
Supposedly,
So-
they still come after my stuff, so.
Okay.
I would, I would just at least get a fence, at least deter them at the very least.
I
That's
guess,
the only thing we can.
how important is a fence to us is the real question. Should we tell Aaron we absolutely have to have a fence?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How old are the people?
To this school? I don't know.
Oh, the kids in my son's program are like 19 to 26.
And then
I
there's
think they're older. Is there a reason why?
Yeah,
There's
they're
all
all-
Admitted their intelligence and then submission during yesterday's ruling with representatives in Congress examining the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan.
At what point, General McKenzie, and this is for all, what point did you know that the strike was bad?
Oh.
So when the strike hits within 4 or 5 hours.
Other community gardens, to your point, have mentioned that when they didn't have a fence, they had a lot more pilfering. And when they took the fence up, they had a lot less pilfering. So that would argue for anti-pilfering fence, but then there's also the
There's
question.
no one with government.
And rabbits.
The only is by U.S. Central Command General Frank McKenzie before the TV cameras almost.
Now I offer my sincere apology.
I have an outdoor cat. I know.
Yeah.
Don't ask if it is directly
All
from
that, but I have a rat problem in my yard. So.
One of the things I do is I plant some catnip by my bench.
Oh, yeah, the
And it's really cut down on the chipmunk and squirrel.
in line based in California.
What do we tell Aaron about the fencing? Do we want to have 7 years?
Yes, I go for a deer.
Any other job in the world.
If we're gonna have one, this is the year to ask.
Well, yeah.
It only gets worse. Yeah.
Insult to injury, the U.S. military continues to maintain that they count daily 36 that they today came from an ISIS K safe house. CNN can confirm that the purported ISIS safe house is the family home of NEI's country director, Dr. Ali, a pediatrician and father of 3 young girls, and has lived here.
And I would be willing to find out from them where they got it. But I just know chain link is gonna be.
It was from that point the military began following Zamorai's car and will continue surveillance for the next 8 hours.
Out of my yard, the pointy up.
It is absolutely untrue, but I do expect the US government to the next part of my.
In fact, Wali was granted a U.S. green card in 20.
Yes.
Was released.
Yes, again,
That would be beautiful.
That would be a very.
I know, but I yeah.
I would be totally in favor of something like
Is
that.
it 7 tall? But I have 6 feet because that's what I ordered personally.
And there's gaps between it, or is it all?
Yeah, there's gaps in between. It's, it looks
Also
like
demand.
Victorian era style. But that's a, I have personal.
Eric, how would your neighborhood association feel if we put up a 7-foot deer fence around the garden?
Despite children, their smiles disguise their daily anguish and pain. Relatives say they often break down in tears, asking why their cousins. There isn't a single day we don't share.
I gotta turn that down.
6 foot,
Nothing
sinful. That's a 6-foot fence, I believe.
Anna Corrin.
That's the typical.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
Not zoned residential.
It's up to the city.
If
Whatever the
and
city.
it is gonna make a difference, it's a school property. So I don't know that they have to apply for a variance. It's a little bit
I think razor wire.
like an industrial fence with barbed wire and cameras.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then do we use deer hunters or a bow rifle or rifle to keep the deer at bay?
It wouldn't be very attractive, but maybe we could think of that. That's where the making it attractive would be.
Yeah.
Can I ask about the fence? Is the
Now on the Barstool Sports app. A heavy look. The buck check.
I would like to serve beer. But also,
Pilfering, yeah.
vandalism, pilfering, et cetera.
Yeah,
So
and I
that's
was gonna
just a
say,
deterrent.
I don't know, maybe some of the people around here too, but there's.
Up to zero because it flexes.
I know there was that light. There's some lights, two lights.
Yeah, I think those lights would be fine.
No, I just mean for the football.
Yeah, for pilfer. Community gardens do get pilfered, so that'll probably happen, but like at Ferndale, they said their amount of pilfering went way down when they put the fence up.
Just at least deterring the casual.
Rubbing alcohol or Western omelet.
Sending, and in fact, any of you who have kids in the Berlin School District get the distance monthly.
Imagine moving your dream home to start a new life, only to find yourself subjected to nonstop harassment or
See the whole
That's
class,
not-
but I took a whole picture.
they describe an escalating.
But I'm interested in visiting. Take a look.
You had your hand up.
I was just to make my question. So here, but is it aesthetic thing to the fence too? Is it?
Yeah, I
It's
hope
not a
so.
Safety thing, it's not a ability, but deer and just aesthetic. Well,
Yeah, just to deter the deer and rabbits.
I mean,
Rabbits, yeah.
I think
The rabbits are gonna find a way.
I think the reason that it's a good idea to
Way back.
because like in the Lathrop Village Garden, they can make it.
Caleb, get off my back about this, all right?
And I don't know that we really know how big we need this garden to be. So I think in the interim, while we're trying to figure out how much space we really need, we should do something.
Gate, so that allows people.
This has a gate.
It has a gate.
Yes.
Okay, and so that's what the, my, and I actually think like a soft, like a plastic one, like I think it's harder to climb, even if.
Oh, yeah.
You can't
Because
climb it.
the
'cause it's too-
the holes in the fencing are like this.
Yeah, so
You can't get a foot or a hand
yeah,
in
you can't
there.
get a rabbit in there and be able to climb it.
Right. And I think it looks nice.
So why don't,
Check it out.
yeah, everybody here, why don't you post the pictures on our Facebook group? And then everybody take a look at that and then
I
we'll,
sent them to you, but I'm
yeah.
not Facebook.
Oh, okay,
So,
we'll find it. We'll figure it out.
But I can resend them to you.
Yeah, resend them to me and what.
What?
Okay. And then,
All blame and ended up back.
Take it back. We have rats eat the sunflower more than any other.
Well.
I see rats out here all the time. So,
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
they're gonna burrow,
I would suggest a garden. Yeah. I haven't had an issue with my cats. Some owl houses.
There is a log
Oh, yeah, get
that's
some
around
raptor houses.
Puppies.
Houses around here and they'll, I know, I think Friends and Sons were selling some raptor houses as well. I know that was a big thing a couple of years ago at the community center. We were trying to deter rats without actually using poison because it. Yeah,
You might want to check whether
Yeah,
they're
but-
rat control.
So
Yeah,
so
I
I
think
would
like
say,
some small rat, like a little screech owl. or something.
yeah, I would just say just put up raptor houses and their houses around here because
We have raptors in this neighborhood already. There are a couple red-tail hawks and they eat the squirrels like crazy. Yeah, okay.
So we tell,
That's great.
Really, that's good to know.
so
It's
we
worked
tell,
at two separate locations.
That's a good-
yeah, because there are
Areas. So,
Tom, a question, and everybody else, is a shed necessary?
Asked
Do we need that space for a shed,
or like a community garden.
or is that perhaps?
do we ask for that? A shed with some tools?
Yes, I vote.
Hey, if we're gonna ask
stuff, I think we should ask.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a shed so that in case someone forgot their trowels or something, or they need like a full like weeding tool or something like
Or
that. I
if we
think
have the kids working, they'll
Yeah,
have to be
just
able to
something
get.
we
At Oak Ridge Elementary, they have a shed that might require like a flat wall and all that. But yeah, but they have, it's like a tool bench, toolbox. Oh, it's really long and wide, you can't seal it. Yeah, so you don't have to build the rat wall and the, all that. Yeah, we're gonna maybe need like watering.
You know, maybe I'm going this way out of proportion.
Oh, is this kind of storage?
Really?
This guy's playing pretty fast.
I don't really have.
It's like Ty doesn't see it or choose not to.
Very large.
Talk to him about it, what he said.
Thing as well.
Yeah.
Gonna
Get all
have
the
it. So that's the big. I know some companies. Like a cistern. Like right in the middle.
Let me review what we've discussed so far then. So first, we decided we're gonna do raised beds, definitely. We're flexible on metal, wood, landscape timbers. We'd want them no more than 4 feet wide, 7 to 10 feet long. And we'll just look at the options there. For water, we do want some kind of rainwater system. We need some kind of cistern that captures the water off the roof and a way to pump it out.
What else? Sign?
He'll know about that. We want grass paths between.
Example of what you guys are.
Fencing is very important to us and it should be adjustable. We don't have large. We'd like to have some rabbit houses, rats under control. And then either a shed or a large toolbox. Some tools. Yeah, that's all gonna happen.
Barrels.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Gotta do barrels for rats.
Right.
I have two barrels. And I also have one compost.
Oh, I'm sorry, I said mulch and compost are gonna survive. You talk about doing composting on site.
A lot of time on all of this, but both of these projects are totally lame. Now I'm talking
Oh, for garden waste, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
buying everything else, but I'm doing it on my own.
All your. That's kind of.
This is your fault.
Yeah.
I'd rather, so like a barrel compost, because they do compost quicker, so. And people, if someone sees that it's done, then they can know.
We made a whole page.
Hey.
That's your message.
Yeah, you can make them out of like big barrels, like.
Yeah.
You're trying to need it. It does.
I want to talk to you about something too.
Hey.
They're pre-made, but they're usually.
You go first.
I see on 14 Mile, a guy sells the big.
Go home.
Yeah, and they're easy to make. It's
My
so
husband can get those for free.
Well, he's struggling a bit financially and I want to help him out. A little strapped for cash. So
Oh, we
he might have to.
and I have a connection to the My Rain Barrel company.
Are you serious?
That we,
Yeah. Really help you do that.
olive barrels.
I respect that you have history material. I do.
So we could get.
Lemon for money, that's a really bad idea. Don't do it.
And then do you see how the water comes out really low over there? That'd be too low to catch in a rain barrel. We need a system to move it up. But if you can ask them about that, maybe at the end of the meeting, we'll go over and measure how high that is. That'd be a good question to ask.
And no matter what.
What is our water?
Yeah, water source, but he already mentioned that if they have to, they will tap into a water main. We'll definitely have a source.
Wow.
As long as we're on water, how important is us to have hoses that reach each individual plot, or are we okay with watering cans filling from a central spot?
Yeah.
So single source is okay with cans?
You worked hard and strong and yo.
Yeah, so does Ferndale.
Yeah.
Now Troy, they've got a hose and a spigot. They got a spigot coming up next to each plot. I mean, that's,
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
but they pay for it too. They pay $100 a year. For the plots. That gets us down. Well, they actually had two more questions left. One was going to be, what's our position on charging people? How much, a fee? And then like Kathy's question about
What a beautiful sight.
what do we want to tell them about how much they should charge people for having a plot here?
Great one, guys.
Gardens around here have anywhere from 0 to 120 bucks they charge per year for a plot.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Everybody's benchmarks.
Like Troy's is 120 bucks a year, and Ferndale, they charge 10 bucks a year, but if you don't have the 10 bucks, they look the other way.
Yeah, it's fine.
So normally you would think, well, how much we have to put into it, and how much we have to capture by charging people, but if we don't have to worry about
Let's
recapturing,
go,
paying any of the money that's
I'm not gonna be able to trust you that money.
so really well. I mean, I can't think of unless the money's going for something.
I wonder if we could charge though, think about next year, we might not get money from the city. So we might charge money to put into a fund for future years.
Yeah.
I asked about that with the city saying they're gonna hold this escrow or something for this effort.
So no, it's two, right?
He's gonna hold an escrow fund for the garden.
Yeah, that's right.
No, he's got a budget this year. I think he said it was like 10 or 12 grand. Although I could be guessing wrong on that.
Years ago?
But he does have a budget for this year.
But any money we collect.
Right,
I
but
think the point.
I know.
Elaine, it's
Elaine, I
fine.
think the point you just made right out.
That makes sense.
Maybe we're not funding up front, if we're getting this.
That's right.
upfront, but then it's build.
I mean,
Materials and other things, so, you know, that makes sense.
So I'm so put in.
Oh,
What if we charge folks like a lower amount, but have the option to say if you want to donate, like for someone who can afford a plot or certain, maybe a school, like, you know, certain plot, things like, oh, the school wants to throw corn there this year, so they can, you know, put like
Like a suggested donation.
or suggested donation.
Suggested donation, you know, $25. And then you'll get people that'll give you $100. And then
That's $5. That's
and yeah, and then people who can't afford it, that's fine. That's fine.
If it's suggested donation, I mean, we might have more people applying than we have plots. So we do it by lottery or something, and then they pay a suggested donation. Like, what's the order of that? But I mean, that's, what does that mean?
We may not be able to accommodate everybody.
Right, that's what I'm saying, in the lottery and then.
This is huge area. I don't know.
Yeah. Sign up for some for insight. I don't remember.
There's usually a deadline for when you have to.
But like, how does that work, Tom? Is it like, are we calling like Parks and Rec to sign up?
Yes.
Or is it, you're gonna answer the phone?
It'll go through Parks and Rec. People will just
Okay.
mail in, just like if you went to an adult education.
Or you
But,
sign up for like. So I have to, it would have to be first come, first served. We can't say. no.
Well, you probably, no, you just have a deadline and then you do a lottery too. So you wouldn't have to be first come, first
You know
served.
what, and then the registration for the class. If they, can they, we register through the DPS without giving any. Is that okay?
Oh, you can do that, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, do we want to tell Aaron, you should charge X for people to garden here? Or do we want to tell them you shouldn't have a fee?
I think it would be one or the other, because if we're doing like the registration system, either say 0 first come, first serve, or it's $25 everybody. I don't know how to do it, but suggested donation. That's administratively.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
Is it based, so the number of plots, what is the acreage that's set up for this whole thing?
Yeah, we can have as much as we need. Yeah, they didn't limit it. Yeah.
I'm not one of them, 'cause I work in public service, but look, my neighbors pay like, you know, they're all Red Run Country Club members, so they'd be happy to pay, you know, for a plot, so I don't think there's gonna be any issue with doing that. They'll be able to do it.
Yeah, Royal Oak is a little higher income city
yeah.
anyway as well. I think maybe, even maybe just say like $20 to me would seem fair. It's not too high or too low.
These are
and it
plots
could
that you get, right? Like, if you pay for the plot, hypothetically for a second, then you would get the fruits and veggies in that. plot.
Right, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I personally would donate
think
it.
we're
My
gonna have
box, I
to
already
talk
have a
to
veggie garden in my front yard, so I would just use my excess stuff.
Yeah, she said that. No, I said, I think we're gonna have to help the plants grow marijuana.
Okay, well, I gotta go.
I knew there was a reason you
It's
said
a real killer.
Oh, I agree. That will turn a lot of people off. I have a neighbor who's doing nothing wrong, but it's, you cannot not notice when you walk by his house.
And smell it, yeah.
Yeah, smell it.
So do we want to say suggested donation? Is that what people are thinking? Or-
Would you give the option to, so if I wanted to pay $120 for a plot, by the way, would you give that option as well as maybe a suggested donation option for those that maybe, want to just donate?
Or sort of like charities do, you have different levels of donors. You're a, a so-and-so and you're a so-and-so and you're. Yeah.
It's Halloween month.
Yeah.
I like to give a lower price in general and then a way, I don't know how the administration of people accepting more money, but I'd like to know that we're not excluding.
Yeah.
Why don't we set up like a rank donation thing and give it a kind of funny name for different levels of giving, so that we don't miss out on someone who's got more money. Yeah.
How about this? Say you sign up to say, $20 for the year. However, if people wanted, whoever's already in the garden, donate towards a fund for folks who don't have, who aren't able to have a plot, or say, hey, we have 3 extra plots this year. Let's see if someone would like the plot as well. Like, someone's like, oh, I couldn't afford it, or, this year, or whatever the reason is. You can tap into our little pot that we have of just, our donation that folks who are already in the garden. And you set it aside for folks who can't or didn't realize that they're extra plots.
So what
So
we
it sounds
need
like
is,
we,
we
everybody
need a
agrees we want to have some kind of escrow fund set up that people can
Yes.
donate into, and we can work out the details.
Yeah, and then it's for the future, like Elaine said, in case we only get money this year and then we're on after that.
and would we need a treasurer or would you let the city hold the money?
But it'd be a city
Huh.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the
So
city,
I
yeah.
think that's worth asking, if something that's easy to administer, because I think that if we're doing it through DPS, I can't imagine how they would administer kind of a floating amount of dollars. It could be then, if that's really our preference, we might be looking for a nonprofit that'd be willing to have us as a program of them. And that would be the option that would be easier.
Yeah, we could use the community foundation. Yeah.
We could use the community
Tom?
foundation, see if they would administer the funds for us and
Oh.
be our fiduciary. That would be a better way of doing it. The one thing too is that, 'cause I don't know how people would notify that they have a need that they couldn't meet, whatever. How would they let us know? So we would have to get through that process.
We need some kind of escrow fund, either through the DPS.
Hey, Tom,
or through the
can-
Community foundation.
Yeah.
And I guess
Somebody's calling you.
Tom,
yes.
we have some questions on Zoom, but with the money I don't know if we'll have much say in that, because we're going through the city and I think the city wants to have some control of that. And there was some
Right.
while you're like getting ideas, that's great, but like, I think this is something that is actually, with Aaron, and we have to kind of figure out with him on that.
Yeah. And Amanda's reminding us all decisions we make are tentative, and then Aaron's going to decide. Aaron Flipsky, the head of DPS, is going to decide.
Just all suggestions.
But and then I guess the final thing is, who would like to meet?
And we have
with Aaron
one more,
to
we
go
have a
over-
question. Susan, do you have a question?
We got to set up a
Just
meeting with
say-
Aaron.
Another question.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Can anybody hear me? Yeah, hi.
Yes.
Thanks for doing this, first of all, and including the Zoom as an option to be there. So really appreciated. I was wondering if there was any thought, or we could think about maybe having a couple different sizes of plots to offer, since there's so much room. Maybe somebody doesn't want a full-size plot. Maybe that could be one way of addressing the different cost or buy-in amounts or the contributing financial amounts. to
Yes,
maybe
yeah,
have-
we did talk about that. And we are going to ask Aaron that people might want to have various sizes of, the amount of land they get. If we wind
Okay.
up getting metal plots, then maybe just people would have 1 or 2 plots and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
we-
cool.
we
All
definitely
right,
got
thank
that on
you.
the list.
Yeah, I must have missed that. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Amanda.
Yes, that was my final question. Who wanted to go to the meeting with Eric? Maybe whoever wanted to, just write your name down on here. I will pass it around. And is there anything else anybody wanted to bring up before we adjourn? That's okay.
I would just love to see butterfly gardens. Don't have to raise bed those. And also if they could make an area for pollinators.
I would suggest this, native plant restriction, because pollinators will come to the grave, and look, let's see what plants are indigenous. And I know yarrow is for sure, but
I mean, you could plant the butterfly garden plant and the pollinator plants. You can plant those. You're not,
Yeah.
but
And there's young people who are doing a Bee City USA. That's it, you? So we could have that be the school project. I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, and I didn't have that on the agenda, but we talked about that at previous meetings, and we're definitely going to have surround the thing with pollinators, and we're going to ask the bee people to be there and put up big sunflowers and stuff like that.
I saw you.
sunflowers take daily watering.
Yeah.
Daily watering.
that's why I would just rather have native plants anyway, because they're used to our crazy weather.
I will send you. We could just get them off the railroad tracks.
I have
yarrow, I have.
I do too.
What were you gonna say?
I was just wondering, will there going to be any like community, like truly like a community lots reserved for like a free for all to donate to a, you know,
Yeah,
something
that
that
might be a
has
nice
that
idea.
more of that, like.
Like
not
anybody
just
who wants to
my
do that will
little
be able to
stand.
do it. Yeah, they'll just reserve a plot and say, we're
That's
going to
what I'm
donate
gonna
all
do.
this money to
Oh,
the food bank.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
That's good. Yeah, I just want to fly.
Hey,
Yeah,
I know it sounds, maybe a flagpole. How do we feel about a flagpole in the center? A flagpole? I don't know. It's like a little center part that's kind of like a little thing. We got a sign and a flagpole.
A Veterans Memorial? No.
No, listen, no. No. It'd be a nice little kind of welcome. We might have our little welcome sign and just like a little thing, but the flagpole's expensive if we wanted to do that.
That should go on top of the sister.
Oh, that might be, or something like that. Yeah, we could have something painted on the street too.
Who's got my board? We're taking names.
So I'm sorry,
Okay.
what are we writing our names?
If you want to go to the meeting with Aaron to talk about all this stuff, with Aaron Flitsky, the head of the DPS, put your name on this clipboard right here. Did one of you guys sign? We should have one of you kids there. Yeah, I shouldn't say kids. Should have one of you youngsters there. At least one of you sign on there so to come to Aaron's meeting. Anybody else have anything they wanted to say before we adjourn?
Thank you, Tom.
Can they,
Can you plant yourself right on the ground without using a raised bed?
the consensus, we did talk about that before you showed up, but the consensus was no, everybody would have to be the same.
It gets really foggy. It's the,
You want to close the Zoom up?
Yep.
with the rain.
I guess anybody else on Zoom want to make any final comments before we adjourn? Okay, thanks everybody for joining.
Thanks, Sam.